you've probably spent hundreds of hours studying.
Oh, at least. Easily.
Right, like you've drilled the flashcards, you've memorized the vocabulary, you've mastered every single grammar rule in the book.
You've done the work.
Exactly, you are ready. But then, the second a native speaker looks at you and casually just says hello, your brain completely flatlines.
Yeah.
You just freeze. And it is this incredibly frustrating, almost like out-of-body experience.
Oh, totally. It's maddening.
It really is. So why does knowing more about a language, or really any skill, sometimes make you completely incapable of actually doing it?
That is the million-dollar question.
Right. Well, welcome to today's deep dive, where we are unpacking this universally maddening paradox of the what we call the silent learner.
And we are looking at this today through the lens of this really brilliant narrative called Stop Thinking, Start Talking. It's an excerpt from the book The Path to Confident English, Beyond the Perfection Trap.
Such a good book.
It really is. And the goal here for our deep dive is to figure out why high-achieving people, the ones who put in those relentless hours of study, hit this sort of invisible wall the exact moment they actually need to perform in the real world.
Yeah, and to really get into this, think about the protagonist of this story from the book. His name is Leo.
Right.
And if you've ever tried to learn a language, or honestly, if you've ever learned how to code or tried to play an instrument, you are going to see yourself in Leo.
Oh, for sure. We've all been Leo.
We have all been Leo.
Ugh.
Because by all traditional academic metrics, this guy is a model student. I mean, he does the daily work.
He's checking all the boxes.
Right. He's watching the videos, he's reading articles, he's, listening to podcasts on his commute every single day.
Yeah, he's fully immersed.
Exactly. And because he's consuming so much content, his passive comprehension is just through the roof. Like, he understands almost everything he hears.
Which, honestly, that creates a really dangerous false sense of security.
Wait, really? How so?
Well, because passive comprehension, like reading or listening, is fundamentally different from active production.
Okay, right.
When you are listening to something, the information comes to you already prepackaged, Your brain just has to decode it.
It's just receiving it.
Exactly. That is a relatively low-stakes cognitive process. But the moment Leo tries to actually speak, the whole system just falls apart.
Yeah.
He experiences what psychologists call a total behavioral freeze.
He just locks up. I mean, he retreats into this total silence.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not a peaceful silence.
Oh, no, not at all.
Right. It is an internal storm. Before he can even articulate a single word, his internal monologue is just screaming at him.
Just panicked.
Totally. It's like, what if my grammar is wrong? Or what if I use the wrong preposition?
What if they laugh at my accent?
Exactly. All of that at once.
No, reading about Leo's internal panic, it immediately made me think of, well, when you have a computer that's trying to run way too many heavy software applications at the exact same time.
Oh, yeah, when the fan starts going crazy.
Yes, the fan is whirring, the screen freezes. Think about Leo's brain in that freeze moment. He goes to speak, and instead of just opening like a lightweight talking app, his brain simultaneously launches Grammar Checker Pro.
Right.
And then it opens Advanced Vocabulary Thesaurus.
Oh, and Accent Perfector 3000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And on top of all that, there's this massive background program running a real-time risk analysis on social embarrassment.
That analogy actually maps perfectly onto the cognitive science of what we call working memory.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Human working memory is incredibly limited. On average, we can only hold about 4 to 7 chunks of information in our active mind at any given second.
Wait, just 4 to 7? That's it?
That's it. It's tiny.
Wow. So if Leo's using like 5 of those mental slots just to calculate whether he should use the past perfect or the simple past tense.
He has literally 0 cognitive bandwidth left to actually retrieve the vocabulary word he needs, let alone pay attention to the actual human person he is trying to talk to. The CPU hits 100% capacity and the system just crashes.
It completely stalls out.
Yeah, because when you add the heavy cognitive load of trying to build this flawless sentence in your head before speaking, the demand on your working memory is mathematically impossible to meet.
You just can't do it.
You cannot process all those rules, retrieve the vocabulary, format the syntax, and speak at a normal conversational pace all at once. It's too much.
Which is the ultimate irony, right? Because Leo's relentless pursuit of sounding natural is the exact mechanism that's making his silence so profoundly unnatural.
It's completely counterproductive.
Right. He wants to be perfect, so he freezes,
Yeah.
which is obviously the least perfect outcome imaginable.
Right, and eventually that frustration forces his hand. He realizes that, studying more grammar in his bedroom isn't going to fix a real-world speaking problem.
Obviously not.
So he steps way outside his comfort zone and decides to join an English-speaking club.
Which, imagine walking into that room. He is absolutely terrified.
Oh, I'd be sweating.
Same. From his perspective, everyone else in this club seems remarkably confident. They're laughing, they're joking, speaking fluidly.
It's an incredibly intimidating environment when you are the person who usually, stutters and just goes quiet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But this is actually where the paradigm totally shifts for him.
Yeah.
Because he meets this woman named Anna.
Yes. And Anna is basically the embodiment of what Leo wants to achieve.
Right.
She is friendly, she is confident, and she speaks English very naturally. She clearly isn't translating every word in her head.
But she introduces a pretty shocking reality check for Leo, doesn't she?
She really does.
Because this incredibly confident natural speaker, she makes mistakes. Like all the time. She drops a word here, messes up a verb conjugation there.
Yeah, and the revelation for Leo isn't just that she makes errors, it's that she just does not care.
She doesn't flinch.
Exactly. She doesn't stop, apologize, and reconstruct her sentence from scratch. She just keeps talking.
Okay, hold on. I actually have to push back on this a little.
Hey, go for it.
Because I am putting myself in the shoes of a perfectionist listener right now. The straight-A student type.
Sure.
If you just babble with terrible grammar and totally ignore your mistakes, aren't you going to cement bad habits permanently? Like, isn't that actually dangerous?
That is a very common fear.
Right. Because we can't just throw out the rule book and celebrate someone who is technically doing it wrong. Doesn't that defeat the entire purpose of learning the language to begin with?
That skepticism is entirely natural, and honestly, it is the exact defense mechanism that Leo uses in the story.
Really?
Yeah, he looks at Anna and essentially thinks, why aren't you fixing your syntax? You're doing it wrong.
Right, because his brain is wired for rules.
Exactly. But when he finally asks her how she speaks so confidently despite the mistakes, her answer just completely shatters his whole academic framework.
What does she say?
She tells him, fluent speakers don't think about perfect English every second. They focus on communication.
But doesn't ignoring the rules lead to what they call fossilization, where you just permanently learn to speak incorrectly and you're stuck that way?
Well, consider the alternative. If the fear of a mistake prevents you from speaking entirely, you aren't cementing bad habits, sure, but you aren't communicating either.
You're just silent.
Right. You are achieving nothing. Anna is reframing the ultimate goal here.
Okay, how so?
For Leo, the objective has always been a flawless performance. He's treating a casual conversation like a final exam where every single syllable is being graded by a panel of judges.
Right, which sounds exhausting.
It is. But Anna is pointing out that a conversation is not a performance, it is a data transfer.
A data transfer, I like that.
Yeah, the objective is simply moving an idea from your brain into someone else's brain. That's it.
It's about the connection, not the elegance of the code. Like if I say to you, yesterday I go to store, my grammar is objectively terrible.
Sure, it's incorrect.
But did you understand that I went to the store yesterday? Yes.
Yeah.
The idea transferred successfully.
Exactly. The human brain is incredibly good at filling in the blanks. We don't need perfect syntax to understand meaning.
That makes a lot of sense.
And Anna diagnoses Leo's problem instantly. She sees him freezing and basically tells him to stop trying to build these mathematically perfect sentences in his head before he opens his mouth.
Because the pursuit of perfection is actually the barrier to expression.
Exactly.
But insight is great, but insight alone doesn't fix a deeply ingrained habit.
Yeah.
I mean, it is one thing to sit here on Deep Dive and philosophize about letting go of perfection.
Oh, absolutely.
It is a totally different beast to actually stop overthinking when you are standing face to face with a native speaker and your heart is pounding out of your chest.
Yeah, knowledge only becomes valuable when it is applied. And Anna understands this, which is why she doesn't just give Leo a nice pep talk. She gives him a framework.
A really strict framework, actually.
Surprisingly strict, yeah. She issues a 1-week challenge designed specifically to break his paralyzing habit.
Let's lay out the rules of this challenge, because if you are listening right now, you can immediately apply this to whatever skill you are trying to master.
Yeah, grab a pen.
So Anna gives him 4 directives. Number 1, speak without overthinking. Number 2, use simple English. Number 3, speak fast enough to keep the conversation moving. And number 4, and this is the big one, do not stop because of small mistakes.
Notice how those 4 rules directly attack the cognitive overload we discussed earlier.
Right, the working memory thing.
Exactly. By forcing him to use simple English and explicitly forbidding him from stopping to correct himself, she is artificially lowering the demand on his working memory.
She's basically forcing him to close Grammar Checker Pro.
Yes. She's closing the background apps.
You know, it really reminds me of learning how to drive a manual transmission car like a stick shift.
Oh, man. That is a steep learning curve.
It is. If you've ever learned how to drive one, you know the cognitive load is just insane at first. You're coordinating the clutch with your left foot, the gas with your right foot.
The steering wheel.
The steering wheel, the gear shifter, looking at the RPMs, all while trying not to hit oncoming traffic.
It's a perfect storm for a freeze response.
Totally. And if you completely stop the car every single time you need to consciously think about shifting from second to third gear, you are going to stall out in the middle of a busy intersection.
And everyone's going to honk at you.
Right. You just have to keep your forward momentum going. Even if you grind the gears a little bit, even if the ride is incredibly bumpy, momentum is more important than a perfectly smooth shift.
That is great analogy. Anna is essentially telling Leo, stop stalling the car. Just keep the conversation moving.
And the very next day, Leo puts this to the test in what we can look at as like a micro-interaction. He goes to a coffee shop.
Yeah. And the stakes here are incredibly low. It's just a coffee shop. But for Leo, this is a life or death trial.
Oh, his amygdala is firing on all cylinders.
So the cashier casually asks him, how's your day? Now, normally, Leo would retreat into his safe, impenetrable shell.
Right.
He would give a one-word, perfectly grammatical answer. Good.
Because good carries zero risk of failure.
Exactly. It is a defense mechanism disguised as an answer.
But this time, he remembers the challenge. He decides not to stall the car. He steps up and he actually says, it's going well. I'm practicing my English today.
Think about the courage that takes for someone who is terrified of being judged. I mean, he is exposing his vulnerability right there.
He really is.
Yeah.
And the cashier's reaction is basically the turning point of the entire narrative.
It is.
The cashier just smiles warmly and says, that's awesome.
Yeah. And if we break down this tiny, seemingly mundane interaction, it is actually a massive psychological victory for Leo.
Because of what didn't happen.
Exactly. Look at what didn't happen. The cashier did not pull out a red pen and correct his syntax.
No.
The cashier did not laugh at his accent. The cashier engaged entirely with his human experience.
They connected. The data transferred, and a genuine human moment happened.
It proves Anna's core thesis in real time. In the real world, people care far more about connection than they do about perfection. When you share something genuine, the other person responds to the meaning, not the mechanics of how you said it.
And that single positive reinforcement in the coffee shop, it triggers a complete snowball effect for him. It fundamentally alters how Leo's brain processes the act of speaking.
Yeah, he gets that positive feedback loop going.
Right. Over the next few days, he keeps pushing forward. He continues to make mistakes. His sentences are definitely still messy. But crucially, he doesn't stop talking.
Which is huge. He is proving a profound psychological principle here. Action precedes the feeling of safety.
Wait, say that again? Action precedes safety.
Yeah. We constantly tell ourselves that we need to feel confident before we do something scary. I'll do it when I feel ready.
No, I say that all the time.
Right. But neurologically, that is completely backwards.
Because your brain's fear center, the amygdala, it treats social embarrassment like a literal threat to your survival, right?
Yes, exactly. Your amygdala doesn't know the difference between a saber-toothed tiger attacking you and mispronouncing a vowel in a coffee shop.
It just sees danger.
It just knows danger. And you cannot logic your way out of that fear. You can't sit in your room studying flashcards and convince your amygdala that speaking to a stranger is safe.
It doesn't listen to reason.
No. The only way to turn off that alarm bell is to take the action, make the mistake, and physically prove to your brain that you did not die.
Wow.
The cashier smiled at him. He survived. The alarm turns off.
So he literally acts his way into a new way of thinking.
Exactly.
That is so wild. And as he keeps that momentum going over the week, real physiological and mental changes happen to him. His mind actually calms down.
The baseline anxiety just drops.
Yeah. The anxiety of hunting for the perfect sentence just evaporates. And because he is in panic, his speaking naturally becomes smoother.
Naturally.
But the biggest shift, He finally stops translating every single sentence from his native language into English in his head.
Because he freed up his working memory.
Exactly.
By lowering the cognitive load, by allowing himself to be imperfect, his brain suddenly had the capacity to just operate naturally.
He achieved the fluency he wanted all along, but he achieved it by letting go of the control he thought he needed to get there.
It's a beautiful paradox.
It really is. Which brings our story full circle, right back to the speaking club at the end of the week.
The final test.
Right. Leo stands up in front of the group, the exact same group that terrified him just days earlier.
Yeah.
And he tells a complete story in English. He follows Anna's rules to the letter. He uses simple words. He relies on basic grammar. But because his mind is calm and he's not, stalling the car every 3 seconds,
Right.
he delivers this story with absolute clarity and total confidence. And when he finishes, the entire room is smiling and engaged.
And Anna gives him the ultimate validation afterward.
What does she say again?
She looks at him and points out the reality he just couldn't see before. She says, "See, you already had the English. You just needed to stop overthinking."
You already had the English. That is such a powerful realization. The tools were always in his toolbox. They were just locked behind this heavy iron door of perfectionism.
Yeah. It highlights a massive misconception we have about learning in general.
What's that?
We operate under this illusion that confidence is a prerequisite for action.
Right.
We tell ourselves, once I study enough, once I master this perfectly, then I will be confident and then I will finally speak or finally share my work.
But Leo proves that confidence is actually a trailing indicator.
Yes.
It is the reward you get after you take the action.
Confidence is the byproduct of surviving imperfection. It grows through doing, through making mistakes, through grinding the gears and realizing the car is still moving forward anyway.
But it does not grow by staying quiet in your room, studying.
Never.
So let's distill this down for everybody. If you are sitting there right now struggling with a new language or trying to learn how to code or learning a new instrument, the lesson from Leo's journey is incredibly clear. Don't wait for the perfect sentence.
Embrace the simple words. Embrace the awkward, normal pauses. Lean into the inevitable mistakes. Because those mistakes are not failures. They are the physical evidence that you are actively in the arena, transferring ideas and making real connections.
Trust yourself to just start talking. Communication will always trump perfection. Just keep your forward momentum going.
Because speaking flawlessly to an empty room achieves absolutely nothing.
Nothing at all.
But connecting imperfectly with another human being achieves everything. The goal is connection, always.
I love that. The goal is connection. And that actually brings us to our final thought for today. We spent this time exploring how Leo let go of grammatical perfection to finally find his voice.
Right.
But I want you to take this concept and zoom out for a second. Look at the rest of your life. If we accept that connection and forward momentum are far more important than flawless execution, what other areas in your life are you holding back in?
Oh, that's a great question.
Think about your career. Think about your creative projects. Think about your relationships. Where are you staying completely silent simply because you are waiting for your thoughts or your skills to be absolutely perfect before you share them?
Because the cost of perfection is almost always higher than the cost of a mistake.
It really is. What opportunities, what conversations, what connections are you missing out on right now because you are terrified of a messy first draft? It is definitely something to seriously mull over until next time.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the material. We really appreciate your curiosity and your time. Keep learning, keep pushing forward, embrace the messy first draft, and we'll catch you on the next one.